I was hoping with my last video that with everything having been covered I would be able to take a break for a while, but it seems like it's just opened up another can of worms, so here we go. This particular chart I have featured on another video, and it is the popular vote breakdown of how things went in this last election. The reason I have it up there is because I'm going to try to summarize and put some things together. Trump voter, I know that you think that a lot of these videos are pro-Hillary Clinton or pro-liberal, but a lot of the content is aimed toward you. It's been aimed toward attempting to reveal to you the true nature of Donald Trump and reveal to you the truth of our Constitution. If this were simply about content aimed towards liberals, you would see Hillary Clinton on the screen and me talking about how great she is and all these other things, which I just don't do. I am one of those conservative people that is in agreement with the 14 other Republicans he ran against, the 15 sitting senators, 33 members of the House, and 10 sitting governors that are all Republicans that believe Donald Trump is a danger to our country. But anyway, on to the summation. There's three things that we can ascertain from the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, that can put to bed any fallacy about the Founding Fathers wanting the will of the people to be determined and ascertained in determining who a president is. The number one thing is there is no positive affirmative right to vote in the U.S. Constitution, which I covered in another video. Number two, there is no national election. So with no right to vote and no national election, these men sat for a long time and thought about this Constitution, writing it. These aren't oversights. These are absolutely not oversights. They were not a giant fan of mob rule, and that's what they saw national elections to be. The third thing is that they only allowed white male landowners to vote. So even the people that they were going to census about who that they thought the president should be, they weren't interested in everyone else, the white males who didn't own property, and then everybody else, women, blacks, anything. So I think we can put that to bed, that there was this constitutional desire for the will of the people to be heard in an election. Violating the will of the people, this argument, is something for the states to hash out. Now, it says in Article 2 that the legislature shall determine the method by which they determine their electors. All the states, to my knowledge, use elections to do that. Now, how they conduct those elections is up to each state. Each state can have its own different rules and own different methods of ascertaining what it believes the popular will of its state to be. And that's well within their right. And they're also well within their right to attempt to sanction and or punish electors at their own peril for going and not voting the way that they believe they should. And I'll explain the peril comment later. On December 13th, though, the Founding Fathers said, look, whatever your method is, whatever your decision process is, by this date, you will determine these people, this limited number of people that we have given you based on your representation in Congress. Those will be the people to have your vote presumed valid. That means that anything done to mess with or intimidate or screw with or remove and replace electors after that date will go to the presumption of validity of the vote, meaning that it will no longer be presumed to be such. If they would do the remove and replace thing, it'll get tossed out of the meeting, the tabulation meeting on the 7th. It would only take you could take, just two people that were against Trump, one senator, one rep, to agree that say, look, this is after the date. They toss the vote. So at your peril, Trump voter, that's exactly what would happen. You would lose the presumption of validity if anything happens to the electors after the 13th. Now, here was the part of this that I really don't understand from Trump voter, because the two things argue with each other. When we see the numbers here clearly, that the Democrat got many, many, many more votes than the conservative did, we can, rightly say that we know we don't have a national popular vote because that's the way it was never intended. And I hear all of this stuff about all of these alleged illegals that voted. Well, Trump voter, here's what you do. If you really believe you have proof that this happened, and you believe that all of those illegal votes all went for Miss Clinton, find the states in which you believed that happened, go to their Secretary of State, give them your evidence, and have their entire election invalidated based on the fact that they could not conduct them in a free and fair manner. That's all you have to do. But we know you can't do that because you can't make either assumption. It's all just right-wing propaganda that tells you that this happened. And even if that weren't the case, I broke this down in another video. When you look at the electors assigned versus total vote, it comes out that it takes 283,349 Democratic votes to equal one electoral vote. But it only takes 205,544 Republican votes to equal one electoral vote. So right there, that's an enormous, enormous advantage. They can have fewer people vote and get more electoral votes. Now, here is what the ultimate argument is with Trump supporter about the electors being supposed ambassadors reflecting the will of the people. If that's your assertion, Trump voter, what you're saying is that the popular vote in your state should be directly transmuted into the Electoral College. That's exactly what you're saying, that the fact that you had X votes for your guy and X minus so many votes for the opponent, that your direct popular vote should be the determining factor in the election. But what you're also saying is that the popular vote results in the states that went for Miss Clinton should not be. Because if that were the case, and their votes would be directly transmuted into the meeting, she would win. Because she has 3 million more votes. So in essence, what you're saying is your 62,957,000 votes carry more weight than her 65,817,000 more votes. That's what you're saying. In essence, that's what your argument is. Even though I gave a 3-point synopsis earlier about why the Founding Fathers had no interest in determining the will of the people. No affirmative right to vote, no national elections, and only white male landowners could vote. There's no way you can take from that somehow the Founding Fathers wanted the will of the people to be heard. Period. You just can't do it. So, anyway, to go again to the remove and replace thing, once again, I'll cover it. If anything is done to an elector after the 13th, if you replace him, because he doesn't vote the way you think that he should, the vote of the state then can be presumed to be invalid, because the date is December 13th. And you can go read that. You have to have it in by that date for the vote to be presumed valid. So here would be the net effect. I'll use Colorado for an example. Let's say that they have 9 electoral votes supposedly going for Hillary Clinton. And then they have these 2 that don't vote the other way. And then they decide they want to replace these 2 when they vote for Bernie Sanders or whatever. All that's going to happen on the 7th, when Colorado goes to submit its vote, somebody's going to stand up and say, I'm sorry, this elector that voted for Hillary Clinton was put into the Electoral College after the 13th. The vote is not valid. To a senator and a congressman agree on that, it's not an easy thing to determine, and then you wipe out the vote of Colorado. -9 Hillary Clinton. So instead of -2 Hillary Clinton, it'll be -9. The same thing could happen in, let's say Florida. If that would happen down here, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people decide to vote for Mike Pence or somebody like that, and the governor down here decides to pull those electors, and that's all they'd have to do. They would go and say, okay, sorry, we had electors that were appointed and put in and certified after the date of the 13th. That makes the vote invalid. And you can look it's not my rule. I'm not making that up. It says all controversies regarding the appointment of electors shall be completed by the 13th of December for the vote to be presumed valid. That's just the way it is. I mean, in fact, here it is. I mean, I'll show it to you right here, December 13th. You can read it for yourselves. There's no ambiguity there. So you would basically be cutting your nose off to spite your face. You would be in essence saying, because if we can't get all 29 votes for Donald Trump, we're going to go ahead and subtract 29 votes for his total because 5 of them might have voted for Hillary Clinton. It would be a negative net. And if you try that, Texas, I don't think can do it because Texas doesn't have faithless elector laws. But even if they would try remove and replace in Texas, that'd be fantastic for Hillary Clinton. She'd love that because that's 38 right there, and they only need 37. So you could get votes tossed out all over the place, and he could go way below the total. Now, I'm not saying they would all be switched to Hillary Clinton, but you would definitely put this into Congress, and after that, we'd have a mess. So, anyway, just wanted to cover this again. God bless everyone. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Please, just anybody's allowed to come here and talk about anything they want to. No foul language, no calling names, no assertions that cannot be backed up, meaning the whole Hillary Clinton thing. You know, if you don't like her and don't like her policies, you're free to talk about her policies. But none of this illegal criminal crap that can't be proven. And, you know, you're just going to get deleted and blocked, anything else. But like, share, subscribe. Thank you again. I appreciate it more than you know.